I literally just called. Hold on. Focus. 10. I literally just called my job that I'm currently working at, Yoshinoa, right? Tell me why all of a sudden. So last week there was an altercation, not a physical or severe. It was just a little back and forth because I had accidentally clocked out his account, like as if he clocked out his shift, right? Because he didn't let me know that he logged into my computer that was registered in my name to clock in from I'm guessing after he came in from his break. So I was busy mopping, and I was mopping because when the shift managers told me to. So he seen me. He clocked out. He clocked back in from his 40-something minute break because it wasn't 30 minutes. And this dude, I guess, clocked in my computer. He didn't log himself out after clocking in, even though he knew he ended up accidentally logging in. Because when you clock in and you do a fingerprint, you log in the computer and you end up logging out the other person who was logged in, which was me. He was busy counting the money, and I didn't know he was counting the money. Like, took the money out the safe and stuff like that. Because I asked one of the shift managers, I'm like, do I start counting money now? Like, you want me to start getting ready for it, like counting the money? She's like, oh, such and such is taking care of it. The general manager is taking care of it. So I'm like, what in the world? Why is he taking care of counting my money? Like, that's weird. Like, all of a sudden, I go to the back and he's counting money, and then he's handing me the cash, $169 to drop in the safe. So I drop it, put my code in, which is weird because it's just like, you dropping my money, you might as well just put your code in and that this wasn't my money. It's weird. I don't know. Because we're supposed to be signed in to make sure, so they know that this money was printed out from us. Like, we counted it and we were the ones doing the cash, like on the cashier instead of someone else. And we, like, to make, so that person gets, I guess, credit for being on the cashier, like that shift, like, or whatever, right? So all of a sudden, I literally, dropped the money in. It's $169. I walk out and I'm before I leave out that area, because it's really small in the back. The kitchen in the office area where the safe is and where he sits at, where the managers are be at, he is right there. So I literally was like, okay, because it was turning 3 o'clock, and that's when my shift ends. I said, does the shift manager, does she want me to, do y'all want me to clock out right now, since, because it was turning 3? And he said, ask the shift manager if she got anything else for you to do, which makes no sense because it's literally, I think it was like 2:52, and I leave at 3. I'm supposed to clock out at 3. Why am I doing anything else? But hey, whatever. So I was like, all right, let me ask her. She said, no, I don't got nothing else for you to do. You can clock out right now. I was like, oh, okay. She walks from behind the kitchen and I guess was going to the sink, which the sink is right next to the cashier. 2 cashier areas, the computer, where you do, the cashier work and the people order their food. That's the front desk area. So it's pretty small in there. And I went and pressed clock out. I pressed out the done menu because it was still in the menu where it was showing how much was in the register, like how much I made today. And I pressed done and I quickly pressed clock out. And she looked over and she was like, oh, you had ended up clocking out the general manager. And I'm like, oh, wait, what? She was like, yeah, you ended up clocking out. I was like, I didn't know that. She walks to him, she tells him like that I accidentally clocked him out and then he's gonna have to log back in. And I was like, yeah, I didn't even know that you were logged into the system. And he's like, you was telling his face, he was mad, but it's just like, why are you, I'm like, you could just clock back in and you're still gonna get paid for your hours. You act like I did it, like the way he was acting was as if I did this mess on purpose. Then went into a whole back and forth. Like, bruh, it was an accident and you trying to talk about it in the front area, cashier area where customers will have to come in. Unprofessional as heck. This dude literally was like going back and forth with me, talking about some, look, you see at the, look, how did you end up clocking me out? I was like, He clocks himself back in. He tries to laugh it off. Wait, I think I at first clocked myself out since he was already clocked out, and then he clocked himself back in the system so he can get obviously his hours today. He all of a sudden says, how did this happen? Like asking me like, how did I end up clocking out? I'm describing, I'm saying, because I was literally clocked into the system and I was mopping literally after, like, as I was about to mop, 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes. As I was about to mop, he literally came in a few minutes after I was about to mop. This dude had been going for almost an hour, wherever the heck he was at. I said that my stuff was in the system, logged in and everything, and you didn't, like, I didn't know that you were logged in. I didn't know if you were logged in. And he was talking to me like in a belittling way, like, oh, that's why you're supposed to like you're supposed to pay attention. That you don't see this name right here. You like when you press the done out of when you get out the screen where it shows you the amount that's in the register, you don't see this name right here. Look, it's not saying your name. It's saying this name. It's like I'm stupid, and I'm like, that small font that's at the bottom of the screen, you think that I'm going to assume that you were logged into the system and you clocked in when I was busy trying to mop? And not only before I even started mopping, that whole entire time before he even stepped into the back in the store after his break, I was clocked into the system. I was logged into that computer. And you decided, okay, let me clock myself in after my break, which is nothing wrong with that. You're supposed to do that. But the problem was he didn't say, oh, hey, I accidentally logged you out, this and that, or clocked you out. I accidentally logged you out the system, you're going to have to log yourself back in. He could have simply said that. This dude came up with a bunch of excuses. He was like, no, it don't matter because you see that at the bottom? I'm just trying to teach you something. That's, to pay attention, it's not about paying attention. I understand yes, pay attention to certain things like that, but you literally knew. And when he was in the back counting the money, he was not on the phone. He was just counting the money. So when you see me, you could have easily said, hey, I logged you out. Or when you first did it and you logged me out, you didn't say nothing. So I'm just like, you literally chose not to say nothing to me. And I literally had to, like, what? I'm confused. Like, you chose not to say nothing to me, and you telling me that I should have what? I should be paying attention. Like, he was trying to act as if I need to be accountable, or like hold me accountable and say that, oh, like it was the reason why it happened was because I wasn't paying attention. And he just kept trying to come at me some type of way and talk to, like act like I was stupid. We was conversating, it was going in a back and forth, and I was like, I'm not about to do this. Like, and he was like, oh, okay, so for example, if I was, I didn't say I'm not about to do this. I said it in my mind because I was just fed up because he kept going back and forth with me. And he was like talking to me in a very demeaning way, talking about something, oh, you just got to pay attention. Don't talk to me like no kid. I was paying, like, you literally logged me out and didn't let me know you logged me out. And it's understandable, okay, maybe if he forgot to say it, but then he went and made this comment and he said, I don't have to communicate with you. I was like, it's about communication. I understand paying attention, but it's also good when you log someone out the system so they're aware of that you logged them out. Hey, communicate and say, hey, I'll end up logging you out. That's it. Like, I'm busy mopping. You think that I'm focusing on the fact that I realized afterwards he clocked in was when I found out I clocked him out, and I'm like, oh, he clocked in after his long over 30-minute break. And I'm like, because I was wondering, because when she told me I clocked him out, I was like confused, like, why is he clocked in my computer? And he was like, okay, so let's just say, for example, if I was on the phone and I was busy and I can't communicate, you're not about to play these type of games. You weren't on the phone and you knew you could have communicated and said something. I just straight up, I'm like, I already clocked out. I'm going, like, I'll start walking, grab my stuff, grab my food. Like, this is the same dude that was not trying to give me a free meal. Every other employee can eat for 10 minutes, but me, I'm eating for a couple minutes. You busted out your mind if you think I'm gonna eat my food for a couple minutes. No, what I would do, I'll put my tray. He when I come back from my break, he'll lie and say, "Oh, you always you took over 15 minutes after your break." Actually, it took over 5 minutes for my food to be prepared because it says the employees are supposed to have a free meal or at least a free drink if they want one. And it took a few minutes for my stuff to be made. I sat down for 10 minutes and I ate and I came back. And he's like, "Oh, you're supposed to take a 10-minute break. You remember I told you 10 minute? I'm like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know." Like, he was like, "Yeah, it's just 10 minutes. And, I think he walked off at that point. That was a whole nother situation. But overall, and then all of a sudden, I would take my little 10-minute break, and I started taking, like, when he would start telling me, like, "Oh, you took longer than a 10-minute break." I'm like, it took over 5 minutes for my food to be made. I'm not coming long for my breaks. And second of all, you have no place to say that when you come back almost an hour and you're supposed to take a 30-minute break. You feel as though you can just come back whenever you feel like because you're the general manager. No. Everybody has rules and regulations that they supposed to abide by, and you feel as though you don't have to do that. Don't speak on me and say I take over 10 minutes. Meanwhile, you doing whatever willy-nilly and you doing whatever the heck you want. What sense does that make? You feel me? I said, okay, but that don't make no sense. When if it takes over 8 minutes for my food to be made? Because he was saying, "Oh, I was so-called taking." I was like, "No, I'm taking 10 minutes on my 10 break." But if the food takes over 5 minutes, then guess what? I've been on my, like, if you consider that being on my break for 15 minutes, then I guess so, because it takes a minute for my food to be made. What you talking about? I'm waiting on the cook. And if there's some people that while I'm waiting, I just got called on my break, because you randomly would tell me, "Oh, take a break," instead of telling me beforehand so I can maybe get my food prepared, and there will be no issues with me taking a 10-minute break. But you decided to randomly always tell me, so now, okay, now I'm saying, now I gotta, when I get off the floor and now I'm on my 10-minute break, if there's people that come in and they gotta go before me, now I gotta wait for them or their food to be ordered, their food to be made, and then I get to order my food. And then guess what? It may be freaking over 10 minutes later. That's not right. And then I'm seeing everybody else, they make their food or they get their food, and guess what? They can automatically sit down and eat for 10 minutes. But this dude telling me, "Oh," I said, "But one of my food," he's like, "But one of my," because he was lying and saying, trying to crack a joke with me, saying like, "Oh, I take over 10-minute breaks. I take longer my breaks." No, I don't. I took longer my break like once because it took a minute for my food to be made. And this dude like, he's like, he was like, "Oh yeah, you do." I was like, "No, I don't." I was like, if the food takes long to come and then I get my food and I'm told a 10-minute break to eat and drink, I'm going to take my 10-minute break. So if that food comes in 10 minutes and then I finally get my food and I get to eat and start my 10-minute break, then and I come back after 20 minutes, it's because I was waiting for my food. I'm supposed to eat my food in a 10-minute break. How is it my 10-minute break if I'm sitting here waiting for my food? And you didn't let me know beforehand that I was about to take a break. You just randomly told me. That didn't give me no form of preparation time to get my food made for me. Because I have to put it in the system. Then the manager has to log me in and confirm that, hey, I'm about to go take my 10-minute break and I can get a free meal. I can't just type in I want a free meal and then boom, This one dude, I'm not going to say his name, this Caucasian dude, he works, and I remember he was telling me what he ordered, like his food. He was about to get a free meal. He was about to start his shift, but I guess his shift didn't start just yet, so he was about to get a free meal, and a free employee meal. And he was putting in an order, and he was telling me, and I was putting it in the system. And to confirm the free employee meal, I had to get the manager's fingerprint to confirm it. And when I said, "Oh, hold on a minute, I have to get the general manager to put his fingerprint in so it confirms that he's allowing you to get a free employee meal." So it gets put in the system that you had one already. So, so they can't say, "Oh, I didn't get one," And I remember the dude's face. He was like, "Oh my gosh." When I had called the general manager over to put his fingerprint in, because I told him, like, the guy got to sign in. Because I thought I was the only one, because people would be talking about they can't stand him. And then he made a comment to him say, you know this is going to be your only meal, right? Obviously he knows. Like, come on now, really? Like, just doing extra stuff. Like, it's a you problem. That don't got nothing to do with me. That's a you problem. Like, whatever remaining minutes is left for you to eat. I was like, so you don't want me taking my food home? Now you made this dude, all of a sudden, when he seen me taking my food home, and the shift manager allowed me to take my food home because I wasn't getting enough time to eat my food, because it took a long minute, he all of a sudden typed up a paper saying, making new rules, his own rules, saying that we can't bring our food out the store. How is it my meal, but you telling me and you're controlling when I get my freaking meal? And not even when I get my meal, but I can't bring out the store. It's my freaking food. What are you talking about? That don't even make sense. I've never heard of such a thing. Work at a place where they give you free meals when you work at a place. They say you can't bring your food out and take it home with you if you ain't finished it. What in the world? This dude literally made his own freaking rules that I've never, like, reading and coming across. Like, he gave me all the rules, all the this and that. I've never not once seen that. All of a sudden he types it up and he's having me do a signing agreement and this other dude to do a signing agreement. I'm like, where was this signing agreement in the beginning if there was a such rule like this? This is the same dude that was telling his cook in the back, acting like this is his little friend, talking about something. This person was mad that I didn't give them a 10-minute break, and he called me an evil person, and he started laughing like it was funny. That's not funny. If someone's working, standing up on their feet for non-stop hours, especially if that person had an 8-hour shift, and you didn't give them not a single break, that's messed up, and you did it on purpose. That's some evil mess, and he found it was funny. It was my first day working. And I'm hearing that. I'm like, thinking in my head, this is some messed up crap. And I already got the vibe this is going to be like my other job. But they do some weird old mess. This dude literally came out of nowhere. I got the vibe from the jump. This dude was off. Like, he was like a narcissist. He was a weirdo, a pervert, whatever. And this dude likes to make up his own rules. I remember the first day he literally said, don't listen to nobody else. You listen only to me. Whatever I tell you, you do it. Nobody else. You hear me? Whatever I say, you do it. I'm like, this dude literally was complaining because the shift manager was coming at me a certain type of way because she was like, I was doing it wrong. I was like, this person, the general manager told me to do it this way. And he told me to do it only the way he tells me to. I'm just doing it this way. And she was like, okay, but I'm telling you that's the wrong way. Da-da-da. So I'm just like, all right, do it her way. I remember he got an attitude with me, telling me when I asked him, if he needed me to do something else in the store, like to clean up, do something extra. And he was like, I don't know, ask the shift manager. Isn't she training you? Then he walks up. I'm like, this dude is real childish and immature. Like, bro, when I got my food, this is the last time getting a meal because this dude telling me I could eat in a couple minutes. And whatever, and if it takes, like, literally, if it takes, basically, to sum it up, if it takes 10 minutes for my food to be made, that's my entire 10-minute break. So you tell me I'm gonna throw away fresh new food and I don't get a meal? That's messed up. But it's put in the system that I got a free meal, and that's not right because I technically didn't. No, I'm gonna eat for this freaking 10 minutes. You're bugging out your mind. What is you put in the system that I got a free meal, and that's not right because I technically didn't. No, I'm gonna eat for this freaking 10 minutes. You're bugging out your mind. What are you talking about? I was supposed to work 4 days this week. He told, like, from the jump, this dude lied. I thought I had 8-hour shifts. I was gonna work 8-hour shifts and part-time 8-hour shifts, 4 days a week. First week I worked 4 days. Second week I worked 3 days. I'm like, what the heck? He told me to call Monday to find out my shift schedule. And the first week, he said the second week of working, the days is going to stay the same for the next 3 weeks. Why all of a sudden I found out on the second week I got a call to find out my days. And then after that, I found out I'm working just 3 days. I'm like, what the heck? I called today to see when I'll get my schedule, right? All of a sudden, I found out the shift manager answers, and she's like, I let her know, like, I didn't get paid. Like, I was supposed to get paid today. She's like, it's for the first 2 weeks, you get paper check. Because since you just started, and then next week, when the next 2 weeks, because you get paid bi-weekly, when you get paid, it's going to be direct deposit. I'm like, he didn't tell me that. I didn't know that. Same way, I didn't even know. She had to tell me I was able to get a free meal. I didn't know that because he didn't tell me because he didn't want to give free meals to employees. That's messed up. That's selfish and that's messed up. You're not paying for these meals. Why are you having an attitude and an issue with it? Like, you don't like the fact that seeing your employees eat? You're a freaking weirdo. But you can eat. I see him whip up himself food, whip himself up a drink, taking over a 40-minute break. Are you freaking serious? But nobody else can? Selfish. She's like, oh, you're not going to be coming in until next week. Next week? She said Monday. You work Monday. I'm thinking in my head, dang, today? But I didn't say it. She was like, not today. And I'm like, oh, okay, not today. She's like, next week. I'm like, oh, what the heck? I mean, it's a whole week of work. And I come in Monday. I was like, oh, okay. Is that what other days? And she's like, that's it. That's the only day. I'm like, Monday I just work. And she's like, from 11 to 3:30. I'm like, that's it. She's like, yeah. And I was like, well, why? What's going on? And I was like, I was just asking because I'm supposed to get days. I mean, I was just curious, you know? And she was like, oh yeah, it just says Monday. She was like, I don't know. She's like, why he cut your hours? Why he cut your days of you working? I'm supposed to work part-time. It literally has me put down, I'm supposed to work part-time. Why are you putting me down? I'm supposed to work a few hours for one day. I don't work none of these days this week, and I'm supposed to. And then the next week, I just work one day on Monday. You think I'm finna come? This is my last day. I'm not coming back. You not paying me right, and then you coming at me sideways when it comes to, you give me a couple minutes to eat, and if it take 10 minutes for my food to be made, guess what? That's my 10-minute break, and I better throw out my food. I can't take it out. You're doing malicious, weird crap. You're not trying to give me a break. You're being weird. You're being selfish. You're nitpicking. You trying to start issues and arguments for one day. You think I'm finna show up? Oh, you're bugging. Done. I'm good. F you. Get out of my face.